When I went through teacher preparation 20 years ago, obviously things were a lot different. A lot of things we did were whole group instruction and then maybe small groups. Back then I don't feel like as a teacher I reached every kid as much as I do now. I myself wasn't worried about whether it would work for me, but I think as a school you really have to have a certain amount of teacher buy-in. And I think that this staff does, but I was worried that personalized learning doesn't look the same in every classroom because there's the first two syllables are person. You have to know the kids. You have to know what you're dealing with. So it's not going to look the same everywhere. And I was a little apprehensive that, is that okay that it doesn't look the same everywhere? Are the teachers going to be okay if everything's not exactly the same in every classroom? When it first rolled out, teachers were kind of all looking at each other like, who has the binder? Because that's what we're used to. We're used to, here's your binder of things, and this is chapter 1, chapter 2. And what started happening, though, is people started sharing, well, I already do SMART goals. So here's what I use to do SMART goals. Or I already do tracking, data tracking, and here's what I use to do it. So what ended up happening was we weren't necessarily talking about this model that everyone thought we were going to adopt. It turned into a great staff collaboration because without that, genesis of ideas, we would have never even sat and talked about it. That's what the administration has kind of put forth to us, is that try something out, take a baby step. Don't try to implement lots of things at once. Just do one thing and then come back to your PLC and say, here's what worked, here's what didn't. Go back to the resources, find something else to try, and bring that into your classroom. And so the support was there as far as like, just try something small, and see what difference that makes in your classroom. And a lot of times it's something positive. So my classroom is divided into zones, different zones for different kinds of learning. I have a group instruction zone, which is around a projector and a computer, and so that we can do interacting things together while kids are on Chromebooks or just with paper. Document camera there as well. Then I have an area for independent work. I also have a round table for me if I want to work with 2 or 3 kids at a time. In intermediate, we have a lot of kids that are coming and going because of band or orchestra or resource. So that gives me a chance to sit down for 5 minutes with just those kids that maybe have missed something. And then I have some group of 4 tables. We do a lot of science inquiries there, or text reading together there, group reading. So it's different kinds of zones, and then we rotate throughout the day through the different zones, and I give kids objectives. It's a happy, jovial, fun, sometimes not very quiet place, but there's a lot of learning that goes on. I tried at the beginning of the year to figure out how I was going to implement this in a way that my parents could stay involved. And so I do that through using technology to keep parents involved in what's going on in my classroom. And I just make it easy for them to know where kids are, what they've accomplished, and what they still need to work on. I think as far as my intermediate PLC, we have really gotten into the data side of it. There are tools out there for tracking data that we didn't know existed, and now we're able to communicate on that level. We speak a common language because the data is there to support what we're saying. So for teachers collaborating together, now we have a different kind of platform other than just folders and things that we used to have. We used to walk around with just papers everywhere, I felt like. And now it's more, here's my laptop, here's my tool, here's my data. And so the collaboration is just, to me, compared to 10 years ago, so much easier because it's all right there at your fingertips, and it's not something that takes a ton of time to manage. A lot of my data tracking has to do with math, and I had several kids who had thought that they were great at math, which they were, but they had little holes that were back, maybe 3rd grade, 2nd grade, even 4th grade, where they had holes of things that weren't there, and that was causing them distress in 5th grade. And we were able to pinpoint what those were. And they think, I thought I knew everything, because I went through the whole math book in 4th grade and I got B's. It's not about that anymore. It's about the engagement is there because kids say, I don't know how to do that, and that's okay, and I'm going to learn how to do it, and I'm going to master that. So the outcomes are, for me, the kids are so much more motivated because they know exactly what they don't know how to do. And when you're a 5th grader, you don't like to not know how to do things. You like to know it all.